I've lived in the community now for about 8 years, and I would drive by the church twice a day on my way to and from work. I never really knew much about it, about the congregation that was here, and just kind of always admired it, but it was always just something kind of in the distance, in the background. It was just there. One time I had my family in the car, and my youngest daughter at the time must have been about 3 years ago, so she would have been about 3 years old. She asked if that's Princess Elsa's castle. And as cute and innocent of a statement as that could be, even to an innocent 3-year-old, if it has such beauty and meaning as something like that through the eyes of a 3-year-old, it just seemed like it was something that was worthy of needing and wanting to be saved. I don't remember if at that point that I heard that tearing down the church was in the works, but we went to the very first informational meeting about it, and at that point, I certainly did know that at that point it was going to be tearing down the church was in the cards, and I didn't like hearing that. I mean, I don't know if it's the oldest building in town. Our community doesn't have anything else like this. When you're on the lake and whatnot, you can see the steeple and all. It's a show point of the village. This thing's built out of stone. It was built to last, and to just simply wipe that off the map, I think is, I don't know, it doesn't sit well with me. I had never been inside of it at that point, but it wasn't something that I wanted to let happen. It was a very old piece of our community, and it would have just been too much for me to stand by and just kind of like let that happen. I gotta kind of walk the walk if I'm gonna talk the talk with trying to save this place, so here I am. If I have a sense of saying that this is something that I wanted to stay in the community, you have to back that up with action. It wasn't just one of those things where I could say, okay, church is still standing, now I can abandon. We all still need to continue to work. In terms of the faith roots, I don't know if I've had as much of a connection with that, but when a building's been around as long as this one has, yes, I can only imagine that over 160 years that there's been a lot of transformation that's gone on in this building. But I definitely feel that, with the pandemic going on, that was something that brought me closer to God. And I think having this type of a involvement, a task, I think it has given a lot more, say, worthwhileness to that closeness to God. And sometimes when you're searching to be closer to God, He might put certain types of opportunities in your lap, and I do kind of feel that this is one of those types of opportunities that He's given me to stay involved and stay closer and help, say, His mission of keeping people close to Him. It's not the type of thing that I was ever, say, expecting to get involved with. I'm a little bit more of like an introvert. I don't necessarily like to go out, and I'm not as social around, but when you're working here as much as you are, you just tend to do those things naturally. So you tend to find out a little bit more about people. I like to think I'm a hard worker, and I remember one day in particular putting in a full 8-hour day, and a lot of other people had actually already left. And there was one other gentleman here, and he was working on our windows, and I was impressed with his dedication to want to get these windows done, because after a full 8-hour day, I was ready to call it quits, and he was like, no, I got to get these windows done. I'm not leaving until then. So that was pretty impressive. There's no better time to get involved than now. I didn't have any involvement with this church per se prior to me just recognizing the beauty of the place. I didn't have family that kind of grew up here or that were members of this congregation or church, so I had no ties to it either, and I just kind of walked up one day and got involved. So there's not going to be any better time to say, all right, well, I'll wait for the work to get done to get involved. But we need you, for sure. And I think in the end, you're probably going to realize that you needed us and you needed this place just as much as we might need you. So I think there's going to be a benefit to all of us by having more and more people get involved.